Welcome back to the Broom Closet. I have a Book of Shadows page for you today, so grab some coffee and your pet and settle in. Today I wanted to explore kitchen witchery. And Moody Moons explains kitchen witchery as a witch who emphasizes cooking, food, and meal times in her magical practice. Generally, she knows the kitchen herbs very well and probably grows some of her own. And while not all the meals she makes are magical, or even technically perfect, she considers the sacredness of her food in her art. I like this description because it brought focus to the idea of imperfection. I'm always learning and making mistakes and trying new things in my craft and in the kitchen. I didn't realize I enjoyed cooking until I was in my late 20s. And it wasn't until recently I discovered what I was doing in the kitchen was its own form of magic. So we're gonna have a bit of story time, and then I'll share with you some of my kitchen habits that I listed on this page. I know there are others like me that can confidently say my day revolves around food. I'm a firm supporter of second breakfast and second helpings, especially when my grandma, my bakakata, was cooking. As a kid, I was, we'll say, strongly encouraged to help in the kitchen, peeling potatoes, cleaning the shrimp, cutting the ends off string beans, cracking open endless amounts of walnuts because I knew at the end there would be a walnut roll. As much as I would have rather been playing outside, my elders knew what they were doing, and I freaking love walnut roll. Now, my bakakata was a kitchen witch, though she'd probably spit at you and clutch her rosary beads if you ever called her one. But she was one of those, a pinch of that, and a handful of this, and seasoned to taste kind of instructors, so nailing down any family recipe was tricky. Like, you never knew whether or not she was leaving out some special little ingredient, so that even if you tried her dish, yours wasn't always as good as hers, and you could never figure out why. Sadly, my bakakata passed about 4 years ago, and some of her kitchen secrets did along with her. But what I did glean from her was a warm kitchen always brought people together. And one of my favorite quotes is, "Happiness is only real when shared." You may have your own kitchen witchery habits without even knowing it. Is there a favorite pan you always use? Or favorite soup ladle? Or knife? Or even the stove burner that gets more use than the others? Something that makes you think, yes, if I just use this tool, it will make it that much tastier. Even though all your burners are most likely exactly the same. If you've ever had just the simple thought of, I hope they like this, I hope they liked what I made, is putting your intent into your dish. And these are just the most simple examples. Now, my kitchen habits are kind of a mix of superstition and practicality. And on my page, I think I've listed 10. And I'll just read them, they're in no particular order, and then I want to talk about each of them. Number 1, always stir clockwise. Number 2, throw spilled salt over your left shoulder. Number 3, let your ancestors help. Number 4, save chicken bones and eggshells. Number 5, keep a broom by your kitchen door. Number 6, work with a hearth spirit. 7, save jars. Number 8, eat seasonally. Number 9, compost or feed your scraps to the forest animals. And 10, don't cook mad. Stirring clockwise encourages the increase of intent. So if you're trying to increase, stir clockwise. If you're trying to banish or decrease, stir counterclockwise. This is also called Witchershins. We probably do this daily with our coffee or our tea without even realizing how we start our morning. Now next, throwing the spilt salt superstition is an oldie, but I do it compulsively without even thinking half the time. It's just what you do. A version of this belief started with the no-good Judas. If you look closely at Da Vinci's Last Supper, you can see that Judas has knocked over the salt with his elbow. So thanks to Judas Iscariot, spilled salt is associated with treachery and lies. If you do spill salt, a pinch thrown over your left shoulder is supposed to blind the devil who's waiting behind you. I tend to wing it half the time in the kitchen, but when I finally do get going and I'm flinging those ingredients around, there's usually a shift in my inner voice. I hear my bakakata. Do not add too much salt, Seka. Put down mixing spoon and use your hands. Mila Moya, you can never have too much garlic. As for chicken bones and eggshells, waste not, want not. Chicken bones can be a useful divination tool if you choose to practice the art of throwing. However, they're also the base for warm, healing chicken stock. But as much as they beg you, don't let your cat suck on them. Eggshells have so many uses. In the magical sense, they're the Santeria tradition of creating a cascarilla powder. And cascarilla is usually used to drive away any negative energy, and second, it creates a wall between the natural realms and the supernatural. But other uses for eggshells could be fertilizing your garden. Putting eggshells in the soil allows them to break down and over time make your soil more calcium rich. It can be used to clean pots and pans. You can use it as seed starters, feeding the birds, or even a garden deterrent for pests. On to number 5. Almost everyone has a broom in their house for cleaning, but a lot of the pagan homes have a specific broom used only for magical cleansing. I just so happen to keep mine in the corner of my kitchen as close to the back door as I can in order to sweep out any negativity. Another practice associated with the broom is to always store it with the bristles facing up, as to not to trap any residual energy between it and the floor. And it keeps the bristles from getting damaged. Now, working with a hearth deity, spirit, or talisman is something new that I've started to incorporate. Some common hearth and home deities are Hestia or Vesta, Juno, the Lares, which are new to me, so I'm just going to read what they are. These deities dwell under the hearth of the family's household and were depicted in a snake or lizard form. Roman families kept altars of the Lares in their homes to honor them. Ancient altars to the Lares can also be seen in the ruins of the city of Pompeii. And then in Celtic form, we have Brigid, the Cailleach, Caradwyn, and if you're interested in some pop culture, there's the Stregonona or Calcifer from the movie Howl's Moving Castle. On to number 7. There will always be a use for a jar. Save all your jars. Number 8. Eating seasonally comes second nature to most people, but if you happen to grow some of your own fruits and vegetables, the satisfaction of reaping what you sow is that much greater. And this stems into green or hedge witchery, which is a whole other video. Number 9. Waste not, want not, yet again. Give those green scraps back to the earth. Your garden will love you for it. And if it's too much of a commitment, the deer, the birds, and other critters aren't going to turn away any of your tasty kitchen treats. And number 10, bringing it back around to the idea of intent. Cooking mad doesn't help anyone. Now, I can't say I've never made a meal in a mood, but even after you've served that meal and the night has passed, don't be surprised if those feelings rise back up when it comes time to get those leftovers out. And some of the last things on here I have listed are caring for your tools. I try to avoid plastics. I use wood, glass, or cast iron when I can. I use a naturally bristled cleaning tool when I do dishes. Try to condition those wooden utensils regularly I use a coconut oil, and then make sure you're seasoning your cast iron pan correctly. And then on the flip side of this page, I just have a quick little reference guide for different fruits, vegetables, and herbs and their correspondences and what they are used for magically. Everyone, thank you for sitting here with me and listening to our little story time. I'm interested to know what some of your kitchen habits are, or if you identify a little more strongly as a hedge witch or green witch. I'm very interested to know, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Everyone, have a great day and thank you for visiting.